Hi all, Hipper here. So I've already taken out the Mainz using an agile build, but this time I'm going to take it out of the more traditional range and HE focused build here. I have him in belly on Müller, and then I have Kuznetsov for extra range. Then I have Beyond Range, Igniter, Punch Through, Fixated, and Refill Station. And of course Refill Station is the best skill on this commander here. So aiming, steering, and then I picked the increased range here. I don't really need it because I just wanted to see how far the ship can actually shoot, and it can shoot just under 20 kilometers. So and that's before you're close to an ally. So actually it can shoot almost 22, probably 22 if you have all commanders maxed. So yeah, I had quite a range on this thing here. Obviously, like if you shoot 22 kilometers, you're not gonna hit anything because the shells are so floaty. But anyway, the reload is 5 seconds, down from the stock 6 seconds. So that's quite good. That's all right. And in a minute you will see me assume the HE spamming position, and that is basically when you just turn your ship and face away from the action, so you can keep all your guns on whatever battleships might point up or like show up. That's the word. And so pretty much like this, a little bit more angled actually, but right now there's no one to fire at, so I'm not really too worried. So I'm just gonna reverse into the final position here. And I mean, if you see a strong HE cruiser like this, angled away from you, and either moving away from you or just trolling you with the acceleration, yeah, you might as well just go dark and try to attack it from a different angle, because that's what they want you to do. So anyway, I'm just gonna sit here and then I'm gonna wait for people to spot stuff for me to shoot. Yep, exactly, very, very unlike my usual builds. I'm just gonna sit in here. I'm pretty protected. I have mountains to almost every side. So I'm just gonna sit here in the middle and I can reach out and touch every red ship that should pop up. Like, of course, unless they're behind cover. So there's no need for me to push in or anything like that. And I want to see what I actually can get out of a build like this. Because yeah, if you watch this channel, I absolutely despise these builds here. They are horribly, horribly boring. And I always have to remind myself, like, you are playing a damage-focused range build, so don't go in too close. There's no point. You might as well just keep your distance. This play here is what Weimar does so well, and although I mean Mainz can do it too, I just don't think the damage output is the same as I get when I do this with Weimar. Not that I play Weimar like this a lot, but in Weimar you just pretty much just pick a spot and then you sit there and then you fire and you get 150, 160 easy. It takes a little bit more work in Mainz, and I think that's something pretty much everyone says, that it's not as powerful as Weimar. And I think, and most people would agree with me, I think that it's something to do with the tier. Now I am facing a tier 6 here, but in Weimar you have the same guns, and you could be facing tier 5 battleships and tier 5 cruisers. And like, Weimar has no problem at the legendary tier, so that's why it's so strong. Of course you don't get a heal, so you have to be more careful in Weimar. And then on the other hand, like, you are facing way more dangerous adversaries here at tier 7 and legendary tier. And believe me when I say that the legendary battleship, it can make a mess of Mainz. It's nowhere near as sturdy as Hipper or Prince Eugen. And I've played Mainz probably 10 battles now, and it's not going to be one of my favorite ships, I can say that. It's a shame, because it has all the, like, it looks good on paper, but just like Talon, I find it underwhelming, honestly, and I don't see why I would ever pick it over Hipper, or Prince Eugen. Actually, I would rather play Prince Eugen than Mainz. And then probably Edinburgh, and then Otago. Yeah, I mean, Mainz is somewhere down the list, but it's not in my top 5 of cruisers. Just like Weimar is nowhere near my top 5 of cruiser. It's somewhere on the bottom. And that's because, like I said before, I get so bored when I play that ship. I play this game to have fun. I don't play this game to exploit the meta and whatever ship is the most powerful at the moment, and that way, like, either like get awesome battles or pump up my stats or whatever. I play the ships that I like, and I like Mainz, but yeah, it's not one of my favorite cruisers, and I'm not going to take it out much after this whole like the whole new thing about it has died down. Then it'll be a rare thing for me to take this ship here out. And like I said, it's a shame, but it's just the same with Talon. They just don't do it for me. So this build here, like you saw in the beginning, it's more HE focused than AP focused, and that's another thing I don't like. I just don't think, well, basically when it comes down to it, I don't think high explosive shells are fair, honestly. All you have to do is aim and shoot, and that's it. There's no other skill. You don't have to take the angle of the opposing ship into account, or like try to get a citadel or anything like that. No, I just shoot, and that's it. It's I don't like it. So I much prefer AP ships, and if I want to, I can put Riggerwald on Mainz here, the new commander, the new Warhammer commander. And with him on it, it kind of turns into an AP spammer. And I like that better. I mean, just farming superstructures of battleships with that's fun. Of course, you miss out on the fires, so you're not really gonna get like insane damage games. Like for example this here, where you get like a double fire on this battleship here, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it has nothing to do with how good of a cruiser player you are, or yeah, it just means that you had very lucky RNG right then. And that's why I don't like this HE meta here. And I know it's very popular and everybody's doing it these days. All the cool kids, they have their Weimar and they take it out and they farm a few battleships, and that's it. It's just not fun. And for me, that is. I mean, sure, some people probably find it hilarious, but yeah, I don't. The only like high explosive focused ship I play regularly, and I don't play it that regularly anymore actually, is Otago, because I don't think that you can call Otago an HE spammer because it has a 15-second reload. That's not what I think about when I think HE spam. Of course, if you put the Sure Lane Otago commander on it, then the fire chance gets so high that it's just ridiculous. So I guess perhaps Albemarle as well. Again, I wouldn't call it an HE spammer, I would call it an HE focused cruiser. But really, is it HE focused? I don't know. But anyway, it's nowhere near a Weimar or a Cleveland or an Ochakov or a Kutuzov or Mainz. It's not as cheap as those ships, I think. Well, sorry to say it, but it's true. So anyway, we're getting pushed back here a little bit, and my team is pretty much down to, well, half now. So I'm going to assume the position again and see if I can, well, farm a bit more damage before we get overrun, because I can see that's the way this game here is going. So a high caliber at 110, and that's probably because there's lots of tier 6s here. If this was a legendary battle, man, you would have to wait till 150, 160 damage until you got your high caliber, which is unfair, and that's why we need some better legendary cruisers that can really dish out the damage and also be a little bit more effective. I mean, I think every legendary cruiser is horrible. Alaska is really bad. Worcester is even worse, and there's just nothing to come for there. And you can always, well, pretty much always be sure if you take a tier 7 cruiser out, you're going to end up in a legendary battle because no one else plays the legendary cruisers because they're they're bad. And that's not good for the game, and it's annoying to when you play tier 7 cruisers, because like you're starting out at a disadvantage, and not just a disadvantage, but a huge disadvantage. And on another note, I've been playing a few Epicenter battles today, and it has been painful. It has been awful. It has been terrible. Nobody seems to know how to play Epicenter, and like honestly, it's not that difficult. Just think of it as a domination map with just one cap. That's really what it is. And since there's only one cap, and a lot of the ships have to be in the cap to actually, well, the Epicenter, let's call it that, to actually take it, that means they're vulnerable to being flanked. So if you're in a battleship, don't run away from the Epicenter. Take up a good position where, like I always say, you can dish out damage and at the same time reduce the damage you take. And I keep seeing battleships like playing Epicenter like it's capture the base, and that is just a defeat waiting to happen, because the whole red team just goes into the Epicenter and wipes out the destroyer and the cruiser in there that are trying to hold it, because there's no battleship backup at all. So yeah, it's been a painful experience. And another problem with Mainz, if you play it this way here, just to get back to the ship, it is that it's not really that good at HE spamming actually. Like the hull is just too high compared to something like a Targo or Suzuya that does like this long range HE spam really well. And you don't have the 40mm deck armor of a Targo, and you don't have the long range torpedoes to, you know, like deter people who pursue you. And it is more of a brawling ship, except it doesn't have the armor to brawl. And I think that's why I'm having a hard time liking this ship here. Because on the weekend I kept thinking, oh, it'll be great to have Mainz. I'm looking forward to the ship, and I think it'll be good. Because I was hoping that the front and, well, the bow and stern armor would be 25mm. That's fair enough. But then I was expecting like the whole middle of the ship to be 27mm. So at least you got a little bit of armor to play with. But yeah, turned out not to be the case, and it's pretty much as squishy as Weimar. And yeah, you got a few heals and some more hit points, but all that really is just you know, more damage for the enemy to farm. So now we get into the part of the battle where I wish I had an agile build on this Mainz here. And if I was in a Targo, this would have been a perfect opportunity. This is what like a Targo pretty much lives and breathes to do, and that is like just farming battleships here, trying to cap. But in Mainz, I still have to keep an eye out, and I can't really like be as aggressive, and I don't have those wonderful 10km torps that a Targo does. Yeah, it's more of a Cleveland ship, except you don't have the same you know, ballistics as Cleveland. So yeah, if I was going to sit behind a rock and HE spam, I would probably choose Cleveland to do that, because it's just better at it. And if I wanted to play tier 6, I would choose Weimar as well. I wouldn't choose Mainz, because it kind of has a foot in every camp, and you know. So I'm the last ship left now versus 4 enemies, and they are like basically sitting in our cap as well. So this is going to be a loss pretty much no matter what I do, and I'm getting to the end of the map, which is also a problem, because if I want to get out of this situation, I'll have to show broadside. And I mean, like I said, a Targo would do better in this position here, but I mean, that's just what happens. You can't always choose what you want to do in the ship that you're playing, and that's just bad luck. So anyway, I was also just trying to see what I could actually pull off with an HE spammer build on this ship here, and yeah, I mean, you get your medals and you get your damage, but it's just not fun, in my opinion. I much prefer Yeah, like I said, Agile build or the Riggerveld AP build. I think it's fun. This is not fun. So I actually end up surviving this battle here. You see, I'm still at 25,000 hit points. So like I still have a lot of oomph left, but time ran out or whatever happened. They reached maximum points, and yeah, just couldn't continue from there. But there was easily another 50,000 damage waiting to be farmed. But yeah, not to happen. And 1700 XP, and the closest teammate is barely 1,000. So yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and see you out there.